He awoke to see Kurama and Hildy looking down at him. Hildy was wearing a sexy nurse costume that showed off the red satin bra that she was wearing, as well as her ribs. Kurama was dressed as she had been in his dream. I had a sweet dream, Kurama. You had tits out to here, and he held up his hands flat against his chest. And you kissed me, and we plotted vengeance against Betako for trying to kill me with her pussy. Kurama cawed laughter. That's my Mike, joking in the face of near death, fearless to the end. We'll get her, all right. We'll make her learn not to cross us. Mike sat up. How long until full strength? He asked. A few weeks, Kurama said. But you will attend the party and the dinner as if nothing happened. You are invincible, especially your dick. Got it? Mike nodded grimly. They can't hurt me. I'm a rock. He accepted a cup of tea from Hildy and drank it in 2 gulps and then fell back into a dreamless sleep, Hildy barely catching the cup in time. If only we could weaponize his semen, Kurama said wistfully. It would be so elegant. Then again, I have need of it myself. Pity. Hildy stared grimly at her friend. Your mind is a terrifying thing, Kurama. Don't judge me, Astarte. I know your secrets, too. Hildy bowed and left. That's right, Boney. We're none of us pure. Not except him. What secrets do you still hide, Mike? Anything that can be used by our enemies? Later on, Mike awoke refreshed, if sweaty, and smelling like home-brewed sin. He staggered into his shower and kissed a nipple on one of the photos. The shower water was hot. He blinked, and then he pondered the implication. Was Lilia at work? Or had she left because of him? Memories clamored for attention. The image of Lilia plump and delectable comforting him as he cowered from fear of her curse and his own lusts. The mountain goddess of Kobe, threatening he would fall from her cliffs into her cave and be her slave there forever. Whisper kissing him as Hildy slid a fleshlight over his penis, sheathing it in whatever those vagina substitutes were made of. It had been like making love to Hildy. It was the only way possible, and he felt some regret and some shame. He cleaned himself, but he spent a lot of his time just thinking until the water went cold. And for an instant, he thought that it meant Lilia had returned, but his machinal mind reminded him that the hot water could and would simply run out. He turned off the faucet and he sighed. What rejection was more complete than leaving like a stranger, no word of goodbye? He toweled himself dry, thinking of blow-drying Fushin, and he then put on some cologne. He looked at the bottle. Had the cologne been a gift? Some memories ran away, while others demanded attention. Shizu's handkerchief and the perfume upon it. His old cat, Mr. Bojangles, lying there atop of his book and purring, demanding attention. His ex-girlfriend Libby nibbling on his ear as he studied, doing the same. Would he ever have been able to deliver what she wanted? It was useless to ask. He dressed himself in casual clothes and looked at his clock radio. It was 1600. Well, he checked his phone. He'd slept for 2 days and the party was tonight. according to his alerts. Okay, then. He looked for something to eat and made himself a cold roast beef and cheese sandwich. Lots of honey mustard and mayo. It was practically comfort food. Where was everybody? Shizu? He asked. She flew in from Kurama's bedroom in full Tengu form. Hi there, Mike. What can I do for you? Yummy looking sandwich. Can I have a bite or three? Mike offered. She tore a chunk and swallowed it whole. Where is everyone? Mike asked. Work, she replied with a shrug. Hey, want to play with my boobies or have sex? I'm bored. Mike shook his head. Need to get my strength back. She huffed. Damn Tanuki, poisoning my human. She opened her beak expectantly. Mike tore another chunk loose and carefully fed her. Mike, am I pretty? She asked. No, you're a crow. But I like you. She nodded. Thank you for not lying and flattering me. Do you really like me? He took a bite of sandwich and nodded. Hey, I'll shine your shoes for the party, Shizu said brightly. No, only I shine my shoes. It's a soldier thing. Well, how about a massage? I'm still learning, but I want to serve you. Okay, but no sex. Our princess ordered me to bed the queen bee tonight, and I need to be certain that I can perform for the good of our house. Shizu sighed. Okay, not even a little touchy-touchy? Only a little, he agreed. Okay, she cawed. I mean it. Only a little touchy-touchy. Nothing more than that. No, you know what. She cocked her head at him. You mean no kissy-kissy, sucky-sucky? None of those. Yes, my lord, she said in disappointment. He gave her the last bite of his sandwich and went to his bed. Shizu's massage helped a great deal. He felt much better. And as he relaxed, Lilia came in carrying some tea. I brought medicine, she announced cheerfully. Mike sat up on his knees and accepted the paper cup. Old Yang says this medicine will make you pee like crazy for an hour, but it will flush out all the lingering toxins. Lilia was still clothed. She was even wearing a bra. Thanks. Are you still dressed for a reason? Feel free to be comfortable around me, he said, and then sipped. He made a face and then paused. It doesn't taste awful. It tastes like chamomile. That is one of the ingredients, Lilia agreed. Mike drank the tea quickly, before the Rusalka's presence made it ice cold. She took the cup away without an explanation of her clothed state, or even another word at all, and that saddened him. I thought we had a good thing going on, he said softly. Seems like I ruined it. He hung his legs over the side of his bed. And where had Shizu gone? He got up to look for Lilia. He had to make amends before the party. She was in her room, so he knocked and waited. She opened the door. She had just pinned a fascinator to her hair. It looked like a teacup overflowing with shiny black cherries. Are you going to the party? He asked. Yes, I found a date, she replied. Thank you, Lili. Thank you so much, Devachka. And then he blurted, I'm sorry for the reason, and please don't leave us, me. I value your friendship too much to lose you over my stupid lust. Lilia nodded. It is not stupid, Mike. You still restrain yourself. I'm grateful for that. You just need to accept that I am adjusting, and I need you to understand my reasons for changing and be supportive. And then her accent had become a bit more prominent as she spoke. Mike nodded. For what it's worth, I am truly flattered, but you must understand, I cannot love you, she explained. He nodded again. I don't want things to be weird between us, Mike said. Things will settle down again. Don't worry about that, Lilia reassured him. I just need to know they truly are settled and that you will be safe with me. The last man who saw me only as I was drowned on dry land, she said. I don't want that for you, Malchik. She blinked. Your friendship is valuable to me, too. Thought you ought to know. Then she moved past him. See you there, she called out over her shoulder as she left. Rusalki. Lesbian Rusalki. And how many were there, he wondered. Or was she one of God's prototypes, too weird for this world, and therefore more beautiful and precious? Of course, bad men had helped her to forsake their company. Mike could only do his best to be good. He hoped things could be as they were before. A week ago. What had she meant, though, by changes and adjustments? Something to do with her girlfriend? The nymph Echo? Something to do with the Tanuki Tengu Kitsune alliance? Mike decided that she would tell him when it was his need to know. He put on his new clothes and dabbed some of that cologne on his wrists and at the base of his throat. Ukyo let herself into his bedroom. She was wearing the clothes that they had purchased just days ago. It was a party dress that showed a lot of cleavage and a lot of leg. Ukyo smiled and applied some purple lipstick in his mirror. Thanks for the invitation to the party, she said. Mike nodded and kissed her hand. Let's be on our way, he said, and then he hefted Regicide down from the weapons rack above the hearth. He placed the swordbreaker in the trunk of the car and made certain that it would be easily accessible. Ukyo told him he shouldn't need it. She carried one of her war fans, he noticed. It was on a cord wrapped around her wrist. He didn't stare, and he opened the door for her. The bee yokai's home was a gauche blend of gold and purple, the colors of wealth and nobility. Floral decorations were markedly absent, replaced by scented wax burners from some pyramid scam or other. In fact, multi-level marketing products were everywhere. Bees. It made sense. String music was the order of the night, subdued in contrast with the gaudy and tacky decor. A big man, presumably a drone, took Mike's invitation and waved them toward the buffet. Gimmick foods as seen on TV served everywhere. Giant cupcakes made from a mold, vegetables cut into noodle-like strings, an omelet station operated by a worker wearing the striped livery demonstrating the omelet folder bought from a TV ad, an air fryer, and a green egg-shaped thing that was used for cooking also. Oh, and smoothies. So many smoothies. I had no idea, he whispered. Ukyo giggled. You should have seen her during her pampered chef phase. I'm guessing more pyramid scams? He asked. She nodded. And then he saw Abeha didn't indeed have big hips, as Kurama had mentioned, but she had neglected to mention the queen's hair. It must have been 4 feet long, colored like polished brass, piled atop her head, and festooned with combs, fascinators. There was amber of every color and description, beaded throughout in a complexity of nets. Her eyes were glittering onyx orbs. Her delicate antennae were relaxed, and she smiled with the easy grace of the mistress in her domain. Her dress was silk brocade in a classical French style. Her skin was the color of wheat. "You're staring," Ukyo whispered. He nodded. "Time to introduce ourselves," Ukyo urged softly, and nudged him. A worker carried a tray of cheese cubes past them to the fondue station. Another drone openly leered at Ukyo. "I'll see you at 2200, he said. "Huh? Buzz off, pal," Mike said in angry confusion. "The debauchery, Mike. We're supposed to be on board for the debauchery," Ukyo whispered, and gave a wink to the drone. And then they were in front of Queen Abeja. Mike then realized he knew the name. It was one of the words for honeybee, of course. He bowed and hesitated only briefly before taking her hand. He kissed her knuckles lightly. "Mike Marshall, vassal to our friend Kurama of the Tengu courts." "Your guest?" she asked. "My girlfriend, Ukyo," he introduced her. Ukyo bowed. "My, but you do like them big, as rumored," Abeja giggled. "A man of appetite, they say." Mike bowed. "I cannot deny, Abeja. I look forward to the continuing friendship of your household, Mr. Marshall." He bowed again. "As do we, my friend, as do we." An attending worker buzzed angrily. "To us, there is no higher title in esteem than friend," Mike explained quickly. Abeja smiled and nodded. He felt the dismissal. He turned to the right and led Ukyo towards some air fryer chicken legs. He had heard excited buzzing whispers. "Princess Crow has him 5 times a week, plus her spy, plus the goddess Fushin, plus the nightmare skeleton in the dream time. He's no mortal man, but the bastard Get of Priapus himself." Mike had to chuckle. 5 times a week? Is that the rumor? Well, there were worse rumors than an active sex life with dedicated partners. The workers serving the chicken eyed him up and down and then tugged their furry vests low to display cleavage. He winked and took a chicken leg that had been dipped in an orange-colored hot sauce. "I made the sauce myself," one worker said. "Oh, please find me tonight. It's been so long." Mike nodded and walked toward the vegetables. "Mike, you're a celebrity," Ukyo whispered. He looked around, but there was nowhere to sit. So he stood while eating his chicken and some cauliflower. A man, who looked to Mike's untrained eyes to be Desi, approached. "Hello, I'm Russell. Are you Mike?" he asked in an Indian accent. Mike nodded and introduced Ukyo. Russell shook hands. "Listen, I want you to know that we Cobras are supporting your peace negotiations. There are few enough of us, and it is too costly to have wars." Mike nodded. "Thank you. Anyone who seeks peace is my friend." Mike realized he wouldn't be able to sneak around with any success at all. And then Ukyo excused herself to go to the bathroom. Well, at least some work would get done. "Oh, you're him! The human Lily is on about all the time." Mike turned around and got a face filled with a furry bosom. "That's a tall pair," he thought as he looked up. The pair in question was clothed in a string bikini, and above that was a very kind face, rather like a teddy bear. "Hello, I'm Tessa, Lilia's friend, and I hope yours too." She extended a furry hand. Mike took it and nodded. Any friend of Lily is welcome. Hello, Tessa. I'm glad to meet you. I know that she never told you about me. We had a thing back in the 1930s. Communism sounded so good on paper, and workers' rights, and oh, listen to me. Guess what I am? Guess. Mike looked at her massive frame up and down. A Sasquatch? He asked. Close, I'm a Sasquatch. She made it rhyme with Boss Botch. We aren't violent rapists like in those B movies. We're more gregarious and gentle, like Harry and the Hendersons. Don't you love John Lithgow? Tessa explained, and Mike nodded. Oh, and don't worry about the Lily thing. I like men too, especially strong ones like you. And then she embraced him like a long missed friend, which crushed his face back into her furry chest. It was jokingly called Marshmallow Hell. He recalled as her fur tickled his ears and his face. She groped his butt, too, and then held him out at arm's length. See? Very gregarious, she said. Tessa! Hands off my human's ass! Lilia barked in modern Russian. Mike was grateful for the linguistics charm. Tessa obstinately squeezed again. Not yours. You don't even want him. He likes me, and he loves John Lithgow, and we're going to be friends and have lots of friendly movie theater sex, and we'll exchange recipes and chase butterflies. Oh, sorry, I'm doing it again. Tessa released him. Lilia nodded and gently pushed Mike to safety before Tessa crushed her, too. Mike saw there was a woman with reddish-brown skin, orange hair, and maple leaf decorations upon her dress. He nodded at her and introduced himself. Oh, a Crow linguistics charm. I know you don't speak Etruscan, she observed. He nodded. I'm Chiara, Avila, she said and bowed. Lilia's with me. He had guessed, but didn't want to be rude by pointing that out. Many of the women here want to sex you, but you do not have interest in them. Interesting, Chiara observed. He began to suspect a pattern. Avila, you're like a dryad, right? He asked. Yes, we are of related people, but I can leave my tree, hence my invitation. Do you know that Lilia is here to protect you? You seem capable to me. Mike thanked her, and then Tessa's hand was on his butt again. I like you, Mike. Here's my phone number. We should watch movies sometime. I make good fish dinners, she babbled, and then picked him up for a wet kiss on the lips. She pulled a card out of her bikini top and then tucked it into his breast pocket. I want to get to know you well, Tessa assured him, and then Lilia pushed her firmly away. Mike, Tessa's nice, but she's impulsive. Are you okay? Lilia asked. He nodded. Mike has become a bit of a trophy. Many of the women here want him, but he wants none of them. Not even me, Chiara remarked. Lilia smiled. You are correct again, Chiara. Mike only wants his Ukyo. Mike nodded. And then Ukyo was at his elbow with a giggle. Sorry, I drank this pink champagne and it went right to my head. It's not champagne, it's rosé wine that has been carbonated by a cheap gadget, Chiara corrected. Oh, thank you, Ukyo replied. Lilia then made introductions. Chiara shook her head. Oh, Mike will not sex Ukyo tonight. Mike noticed Ukyo blush. He will sex a Beha and then regret it. Every man does, Chiara added. Why do they regret it? Mike asked. She lays there and does nothing, making the man do all the work. Mike nodded. Great. Nothing like a flirt who doesn't participate in the deed. And then it was 10 p.m. Mike did succeed in seducing Abeja, but it wasn't any work. She just assumed he wanted to have sex with her and led him to the sex chamber. A few people were already there. Abeja's clothes and complex coiffure vanished, revealing her fully human body and long hair hanging loose. She gathered her brazen hair and tossed it behind her as she lay on her back and spread her legs. "Come and get it," she said. Mike refused to do it like all those other men, or drones, or whomever had been Abeja's past partners. He went full foreplay mode, seeing it as a challenge to awaken passion in the queen bee. At first, she only lay there, but in time she began to respond, almost tentatively at first, and then with vigor, kissing and caressing him as he made love to her, for the alliance, for his pride, and perhaps most of all, to change the order of things. When Abeja fairly screamed in passion, the others took note, murmuring to themselves about Kurama's vassal. "Look, he still hasn't gone in yet. That's just his fingers," buzzed a worker. "Do it, man, now!" urged another. The audience cheered as Mike mounted the now very flushed and excited yokai queen. He collapsed exhausted at the end, but the roar of approval showed no thought that he might be anything but at full strength. Abeja held him idly, staring up at her ceiling. Mike rolled onto his back. That was where the flowers were. A mural showing flowers in full bloom from all around the world. Abeja took some time catching her breath, and Mike lay catching his own. He was beat. Ukyo snuggled under his arm. Abeja said no words. She only gently trailed her fingertips along his abdomen. The chicken cooking worker stood over his face, and she asked Abeja for permission, which was granted. And then the worker knelt and kissed him, upside down. "My chicken was delicious, right?" she asked. Mike nodded. "Oh, I'd love some more right about now." She buzzed happily and climbed over him. She gently fed him from a bowl of shredded chicken, and then, when his mouth was still full, she kissed him again. He swallowed, and the taste of honey filled his mouth as she slid her tongue in behind the chicken that he had swallowed. He urged himself to not think about how honey was made. Before he could say a word, his body was responding, and then he and the worker bee were having sex. By the end, he was sticky and barely conscious. He didn't care where he was anymore. A burly drone and Tessa, at least he hoped it was Tessa, were carrying him to the car after Ukyo and that worker dressed him. "So sticky," he complained vaguely. "Honeybees," Tessa explained. Ukyo drove him home alone, talking loudly about the wine so that any observers would hear that. "I didn't want that bee. She did a hoodoo on my dick," Mike complained. "Kick her ass, Whisper." And then he slumped against the car window. "Thank you, window, for being cool against my face. You're my only friend." "Kurama, we'll need help to get Mike inside. He's completely helpless," Ukyo said aloud. "Damn it, what happened?" Kurama demanded, communicating magically with Ukyo. "I'm not certain. A worker fed him some chicken and kissed him for a while, and then she was on him like a war bride. After that, he was 4 sheets to the wind, complaining about being sticky." Oh, it's the honey. It's a mild narcotic. His weakened state must have made him extra vulnerable. We'll be fine, Kurama explained. Lilia hadn't returned yet, so Ukyo gave Mike a hot water bath. Washing the honey off seemed to help. Mean it, Whisper. You kick that bee's ass, he slurred. Ukyo got him good and clean, and then cuddled with him in the massive bath. You did well, Mike. You didn't let us down a bit. I was able to spy quite easily, and you, by all accounts, made Abeha humble. You made her humble. Ukyo kissed him. When your strength is back, I would like to give you my nectar, Mike. You deserve it, and I do too. Hey, Ukyo, you're human. You haven't got nectar, he replied with a yawn. I meant my. It was a figure of speech, silly, she whispered, and then the water was instantly cold. Where is he? Demanded Lilia. He's probably washing the honey off, Kiara replied. The door opened. Lilia was nude again, and she knelt beside the tub. The cold water cleared his thoughts. Sheesh, Lily, could you have waited 5 more minutes? He griped. She laughed and gave him a hug. No, I had to be sure you were okay, she insisted. He is a nice specimen, Kiara added. Pity you don't like men. It's pleasant to see you two together. No, you too, Ukyo. Welcome to join, Ukyo said. And they did. The four of them was quite comfortable there in the large tub. Kiara was lean, and Mike saw that Lilia plumped out upon contact with the water. That's more like it, she said. And then the four of them talked, and they laughed about the party. Well, Kiara never laughed. She seemed almost asexual to Mike, and almost without humor at all. He even tried to give her a tickle, but she didn't even push his hand away. She only said, "Don't do that," flatly. Mike apologized and began to climb out of the bath. You don't need to leave. I enjoy your company, Kiara said. Mike smiled at the tree spirit. Thank you, Kiara, but I can only handle cold water for so long, and showed his pruny hands. Plus shrinkage. The three pretty ladies did not need to see him at his least impressive after what may have been him at his best. Mike, we don't care that you have a shy dick, Lilia said, pointing. It had fully retreated. I'm cold, okay? Thank you all. I feel much better, but now I'm going to dry off and go to bed, he replied, and began toweling himself off. Hee, shy dick. I get it now. Kiara laughed softly, and he looked at her. You laugh? I thought that. What, that I'm only an impartial observer? I just have a certain peculiar humor, Kiara explained and gave him a smile. Mike nodded. He decided he liked her. Mike left them there in the tub. Mike, attend me, Kurama called out. He sighed and went into her bedroom. She patted her bed beside her, and Mike sat. She gently lay him down and held his eyes open, looking intently at his pupils. Okay, you're fine now, she said, but she kept holding his eyes open. Need to blink, Mike said. Not yet, my vassal, she whispered, and she kissed each eyeball. It didn't hurt, but it wasn't exactly comfortable either. I drank of your secrets, Mike. I know everything you saw, she explained. Do you know all my secrets? He asked in alarm. No, for that I'd have to eat your eyes, and I won't do that. You earned the right to have your secrets die with you. She seemed to enjoy his discomfort, but she released him, and he shut his eyes immediately. You'll sleep in my bed tonight. You earned it. No floor for you. I'm very proud of you, she said, and she gave him a tender kiss. The sounds Abeja made. You made her a spectacle in her own domain. It's a good thing we're friends, she remarked. I want that level of commitment on every mission. You fuck them like you fuck me, got it? Are you certain, my lady? He asked facetiously, and he gave her a certain grin. Not like me. Like Abeja. Make them sing. And she kissed him again. Oh, you make my heart sing, Mike. Do you still love me? He touched her cheek. Yes. Do you still love me? He replied, giving her the chance to say it. Saying it made her happy. Yes, Mike. Mike and Kurama for 100 years. He fell asleep in her arms. And he saw the dilapidated mansion from the horrible nightmare before. Mike looked around this time and was able to explore. And it was fun looking at the antique furniture and the art hanging from the walls. He saw 3 wood panels painted in different colors, but each of them depicting the same scene of 3 wild horses fighting. He'd never thought that horses were biters. Jinkies and stuff, Hildy said from behind him. He turned around to see a woman who was dressed as Velma Dinkley. Her complexion was swarthy and her hair was a dark brown. It's me, Hildy said. This is what I would look like if I were fleshy. Not much to look at, am I? Her nose was wide, her lips were wide set too. Her body was relatively average, a little thick in the chest and the thighs. He smiled. I like seeing you like this. She gave a shy smile. I feel weird looking this way. Wouldn't you like one of those fantasy bodies better? Fantasies are fun, but I like you as you are too. Let's explore the house. After all, you made it. She smiled. I'd like that. Holding hands, they looked around, and Hildy played docent, guiding him and explaining about the furniture and the rooms. Now, here in the study, there's a secret room entrance. Try to find it. Mike grinned at Hildy and then began to look around. She refused to give him any hints. You can find it, I'm sure, was all she said. Mike searched the desk, but the drawers were all false, just a facade. No buttons on it or below the top either. He checked the bookshelf, unsure what he expected to find. Maybe a fake book that acted as a switch? And he saw a book called Tengu Mountain. He pulled on it, and it triggered the classic rotating bookcase gag. He laughed in surprise, and Hildy followed him, smiling. I knew you could, she said. The secret room was a luxury bedroom. The secret bedroom was for the master of the house's mistress. Her name was Olia. Sang like an angel, Hildy said, and gave him a wink. She was kidding, then. Mike nodded and gave her a kiss. Shame to let such a clean and secluded place go to waste, she said. We shouldn't, then, Mike agreed. They put it to use. What are dream girls for? Mike smiled and felt her heartbeat. Every detail. You're very good at this. And I like how your nipples are disproportionately big for your breasts. Your areoli. That's uncommon, I think. If sex dreams were any indication, yeah, it's uncommon. I'm glad my weird nipples don't gross you out. I'm just so glad to be with you. If marriage was not such a big deal for me, I would marry you. But I like what we have. We have a good thing. Hildy nodded, but her face was sad. I want to get married. I want to be good enough for somebody. And with that, she was Bones again. He was startled, but he caressed her face. As always, her bones were dry and warm to his touch. I love you, Mike, in my way, she explained. I can't cook, but I can clean, and I don't need to sleep, and I've got enough money all around the world to make Solomon humble. You want to travel, see the world? But if I marry you, I can't marry a fleshy woman. And I'm sorry, but fleshies need flesh. Hildy nodded. I'd expected you to agree and had been planning our future in my head. I wanted to wear a black wedding dress with a train and a bouquet of carnations. Oh well, it's not fair for you to be upset that you didn't do what I expected. Mike pondered this. Well, you're not wrong, Mike said. I've thought of a compromise. I'm eager to hear it, Hildy said, resting against his arm and looking up at him. I'll dream about marrying you. We can invite all of your friends. We can do the whole thing in the dream time. Hildy laughed in surprise. Of course! I hadn't considered it. And me, your personal Oniropomp. Mike blinked. Means a dream magician who creates dreams for the uses of others. Oniromancy, after Oniros, the god of dreams. You mean Morpheus? Same thing, like Minerva and Athena. Mike nodded. Oh, I will make the preparations. Give me a few weeks, and we will have a fantasy wedding. Mike grinned. I hope so. She caressed his face. We'll be married really enough for me to be happy, she assured him. A secret, Mike said. Our secret, she nodded. I want Lilia to be my maid of honor. That might be asking a lot of her. Talk to her about it before you put her on the spot, okay? He suggested. Do you know something I don't? Mike shook his head. No, Hildy, I don't know where the notion came from, but she, after all, might be okay with it. Hildy nodded. Well, it's not bad advice at any rate. Mike still tossed and turned in his sleep, but he woke up beside Kurama, and she was still sleeping. He watched her for a while. Seeing her completely at rest was nice. She wasn't plotting murder or vengeance or theft, and she looked sweet. Love is blind. He really did love her. He loved all of them. He didn't care if it was normal or moral or what. They were all working with him to improve their relationships to be on more equal footing, and he felt happiness. It was exciting and challenging, and yes, he liked all the sex, he admitted it. Kurama woke and gave him a kiss, and then they made love, greeting the morning. His heart was pounding. We need to take it easy while you recover, Kurama said, even as he gasped when she bit his nipple softly. She chirruped and kissed him. Time to get ready. We have a meeting today. May I ask? Tybalt, the king of cats. Really? A Nekojin? She nodded. Well, I'll be alert. Please do. Nekojin can be unpredictable and flaky in the bad way. Do you mean crazy? They're cats, Mike. Yes. Right. After his cold shower, Shizu was waiting with some old-fashioned Japanese clothes. What's with this samurai get-up? He asked. Princess Kurama is visiting King Tybalt. You are her vassal and will be dressed accordingly for a royal visit, Shizu explained. Want me to take human form so you can play with my boobs? Boobs are fun to have. Mike grinned. Smile means consent, she cawed, and then was human and fully naked. She pulled his towel off and pressed her body against him. I'm a good servant, huh? I know you humans think about sex all the time, she said. Shizu, I need to be dressed and you need to help me. I would get these clothes all wrong. You want sex. I know you do. Let's just. No. Recovering. Clothes, Mike ordered. She bowed, contrite, and helped him into the complex garments. He took up Regicide and tucked it into his belt sash. He practiced his movements, getting familiar with the way he would be affected by the unfamiliar clothing. Very good, Mike, Sousa said. You haven't been seducing Shizu, have you? No, Sensei, I have not seduced her. Why would I? She's a crow, Mike replied seriously. Shizu came out in Tengu form, her feathers unruffled and her robes perfect. See that you don't order her to human form for your pleasure, Sousa ordered. I solemnly promise I will never order Shizu to take human form for any reason. If she takes human form on her own and seduces me, well, it can't be helped, right? He thought, but his face remained impassive. Then Kiara came out of Hildy's bedroom wearing one of her furry robes. Good morning, Mike. Is there coffee here? I'm not good company until I've had a cup, she said. Mike looked at Shizu for help. Coffee coming right up, miss, Shizu cawed and flew over to the kitchen. You look like a real samurai, hair and all, Kiara said. Mike nodded, taking it as a compliment. That is not a katana, though, she added. No, my weapon is more suited to my needs.